Good afternoon. I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the Commission of Chicago Landmarks, our regular meeting. Today's date is Thursday, December 5th. I'll do the roll call of commission members. Vice Chair Commissioner Jekowitz. Here. Commissioner Boatwright, I guess, is on her way. Commissioner Burns. Here. Commissioner Fair. Here. Commissioner Ponce. Here. Commissioner Tolliver. Here. And I am Commissioner Wong. We do it before. I'd like to ask anyone wishing to make a statement in today's agenda to complete a public comment card and give the card to a member of the staff. Comment cards are available at the door. As a courtesy to other individuals wishing to offer comments, we ask that members of the general public limit your statements to 3 minutes or less. When the time comes for public comment on the individual item on the agenda, I'll call names from the cards and ask you to come forward to the microphone. There is no microphone. Stand up and say your piece. Make your statement. Please state your name and the interest, organization, or company you represent, if any. Before we start, I did want to make note also that today is our last commission meeting for the year. We've had quite an exciting year this year, and I'm going to state my highlights of this year have really been the two buildings, the consumer and saving those from demolition, those two buildings on State Street, 202, 220.
You got it.
Okay, I'd like to request a motion to approve the minutes of the November 7th, 2024 regular commission meeting. Those minutes were in the packets. There's no motion. So moved, Commissioner Burns, and second. Second, Commissioner Fair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Second item on the agenda is a preliminary landmark recommendation for the Rector Building located at 79 West Monroe Street in the 34th Ward. And Elish, you taking this?
Yeah, she's, we may need to, I'm just gonna come and tell the other, I think we need to switch the order. She's. Okay, so we go to number 4.
Yeah, we should. Let's go. I'm sorry. Oh, yes. Thank you. For the record, Mr. Boatwright is here. We're gonna go to item number 4, the citywide adopted landmark fund application. This is for the Wicker Park District, 1500 North Point Avenue in the first ward, and Dan Clyburn. This is yours.
Good afternoon, commissioners. In February, we informed you of 13 projects that DPD conditionally awarded grants to from the most recent Adopt a Landmark application funding round. And you may recall that each of the projects are required to come back to the commission for a vote once their scope and budget are fully developed. One of the applicants, the Wicker Park Lutheran Church, has finalized the budget and scope for this project. The church is requesting $250,000 in Adopt a Landmark funds for rose window restoration and lower level window replacement work, which totals $266,450. For orientation, the subject building is located at 1500 North Hoyne at the northwest corner of North Hoyne and West Lemoyne within the Wicker Park Landmark District, the West Town Community Area, and the First Ward. For a little background, designed by A.C. Hansen, Wicker Park Lutheran Church is a basilica-style church built in the classical Romanesque style of architecture. This style was widely used in Chicago at the turn of the 20th century to lend credibility to religious buildings by mimicking European architecture for a mostly European immigrant population. At its October 1907 dedication, the Chicago Tribune noted that the building represented one of the finest examples of Romanesque architecture in the area. The building is a contributing building in the Wicker Park District which was designated a Chicago landmark in 1991. In terms of the actual proposed adopt a landmark scope of work, it includes two main components that are relatively straightforward. The first is the rose window restoration on the building's main Hoyne facade. Scaffolding will be erected, and then the rose window's existing plexiglass metal frame will be removed, followed by the restoration, repair, reinforcing, and reinstallation of all stained glass window pieces, many of which are cracked or broken, as you can see from this most recent main photo of the light pouring out of the rose window. The pic at the upper right shows ample evidence of individual pieces broken or missing altogether from the inside, while the lower right photo shows the extreme bowing of the window at a certain spot. The wood frame will be stripped, sanded, primed, caulked, and painted. Finally, a 1/4 inch of protective glass will be installed over each stained glass window with ventilation. Next are the lower level windows. The 33 existing windows on the lower level of the building are severely deteriorated, and they will be replaced, and the windows in brick mold will match to the historic in profile and be reviewed by Historic Preservation Division staff prior to permit. The resolution before you to grant the Adopt a Landmark funds to the applicant includes an Exhibit A, which outlines the scope of work and budget, which I just summarized, and which includes $250,000 in grant funds for the project, which again totals $266,450. This resolution and drawings were included in your packets. And right here, it should be noted that the church is separately funding over $1 million in other work itself that is not part of the Adopt a Landmark scope, but does include significant interior work, a new elevator, as well as new drain tile work. In addition, Exhibit A includes the main conditions associated with the project. In summary, the conditions are that all work must be submitted to DPD for prior review and approval. Work must be done in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior's standards. The applicant will notify staff of any undocumented conditions. The applicant will enter into an escrow agreement to assure that the project is completed and paid for in a timely manner, and that the applicant will provide to DPD the necessary documentation of the project so that staff can also give an informational overview of the project to the commission once it is completed. Should you vote to approve the project, the department will then enter into an agreement with the church that will incorporate the resolution. Again, the project is located in the First Ward, and Alderman Spada is aware and supportive of the project. And with me today to help answer any questions are Richard Blender, the architect, as well as Pastor Glombicki from Woodyer Park Lutheran Church.
Thank you, Gary. Does the commission have any questions for Dan at this time? Having none, applicants, would you all like to make a statement?
I'm Pastor Jason Glombicki from Wicker Park Lutheran Church. I just want to thank you all for this opportunity to continue to preserve a cornerstone of the Wicker Park Historic District. And so these funds are going to really bring momentum and continue to help preserve our long legacy there. Since 1906, that building has been there, and we've celebrated 145 years at the corner. So just thank you so much for all of your work and preserving historic architecture throughout the city.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions for that? Further comments? I'll call for public comments. Actually, there are none. Nobody signed up to speak in this item. Having none, I'd like to request a motion to approve a resolution for the citywide Adopt a Landmark Fund grant for 1500 North Hoyne Avenue in the Wicker Park District. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved, Commissioner Boatright, the second. Commissioner Fair, I'll do the roll call. Commissioner Jackowitz.
Yes.
Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Ponce,
Yes.
Commissioner Tolliver. Yes. And I'm a yes as well. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Elise, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna go back to item number 2, which is the Rector Building located at 79 West Monroe Street in the 34th Ward.
Rector building is Conway's, 34 Forest. Yeah. And we support of the project. This, this landmark designation is part of the LaSalle Imagine. Okay. For your consideration today is a preliminary landmark designation for the Rector building located at 79 West Monroe Street, constructed in two parts. The north portion facing Monroe was built in 1905, and the south addition along Clark Street was built in 1921. Rector building is located one block east of LaSalle Street on the southeast corner of Clark and Monroe in the Loop. A proposed rehabilitation of the property is part of DPD's broader LaSalle reimagined plan. 34th Ward Bill Conway is aware of the project as well as the landmark designation and has voiced it. We recommend that the Rector building meets 3 criteria for landmark designation, including criterion 1 for its cultural heritage. Rector building was built in 1905 for Charles E. Rector, a renowned restaurateur who operated popular restaurants in Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Home to several institutions through much of the 20th century, the building was also home to several financial institutions through much of the 20th century, including the Hibernian Bank, Chicago Trust Company, and the Bell Savings and Loan Association. This is part of a larger financial district that coalesced around LaSalle Street in the early 20th century as the city's financial services industry grew. Bell Savings and Loan Association, founded in 1925 by 13 employees of the Illinois Bell Telephone Company, occupied the lower banking floors of the Rector building from 1951 to 1997. And one of the notable features that remains is the corner weather bell clock. In addition to the building's heritage, we believe the Rector building also meets criterion 4 for architecture. On West Monroe is the oldest surviving example of the commercial high-rise building in the Loop designed by architect Jarvis Hunt. One of Hunt's earliest designs combined classical design details with 20th century modernist elements from the Chicago School and Prairie School. Hunt trained at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Best known for his impressive Beaux-Arts train stations, he was also the sole architect for the Great Lakes Naval Training Station in Lake County, Illinois, which was constructed between 1905 and 1911. Hunt was actively involved in the City Beautiful movement in Chicago in the early 20th century. And the picture to the bottom right is part of the municipal tuberculosis sanitarium, which was also designed by Hunt. And that is more of a fully developed prairie style. This Rector building is more of a transition. We believe the property meets criteria 3 for a significant person. Charles Rector was a pioneer in Chicago's early restaurant industry and became a nationally recognized restaurateur and entrepreneur during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This reputation was further cemented in 1893 when Rector opened the Café de la Marine at the World's Columbian Exposition in Jackson Park, which is shown in the lower sepia tone photograph. Charles Rector's success in the restaurant business spurred him to expand into real estate development in both Chicago and New York. We recommend that the Rector building meets the separate integrity criterion. As mentioned at the beginning, the Rector building will be rehabilitated and adapted for residential use as part of the LaSalle Street revitalization project. Prior to commencement of that work, staff feel the existing conditions of the building easily meet the integrity criterion. We recommend that the significant historical and architectural features of the building be preliminary identified as all exterior elevations, including roof lines of the building. You have a preliminary landmark recommendation before you to that effect. This concludes my presentation. We have members of the project team in attendance. Should there be questions?
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions? Commissioner Fish?
Any consideration given to the bell clock as being a part of that? Is that included as a part of the exterior?
It's part of the exterior elevation.
Does it work?
I don't know. The current state of it. Actually, the project team.
It does.
Big
not-
wheels here.
Okay, great. Not like selling sunset. Just kidding. Fantastic. Would you all like to make a statement? No?
Just like to thank the commission and the city for their continued support. We're excited to renovate the buildings, rehabilitate it, and then contribute to the pilot program of self revitalization. Thank you.
No questions of the applicant? That's whether the bell works. I actually used to have a same music out there. Probably check the secretary to see if there's anyone out there. Great, okay. Let's see. Patrick Grossi? Yes,
Hi,
please.
good afternoon, Patrick Grossi speaking today on behalf of Preservation Chicago. Ward Miller sends his regrets. He's actually in meetings regarding the Century and Consumers Building. It's mentioned a moment ago. So we just want to express our support for this preliminary landmark recommendation. Preservation Chicago is likewise supportive of the planned adaptive reuse of the Rector Building, as we are supportive of the sort of larger suite of planned office to residential conversions along the South Street corridor, excuse me. Our executive director, Ward Miller, has been in regular contact with the stakeholders of these projects. He's testified previously in support of this particular project as it moves through the zoning process, and we are likewise thrilled to see it move forward. We do hope that the iconic weather bell can be restored. And as we saw in some of those historic photos, the building once had a fairly elaborate multi-story masonry cornice. So Preservation Chicago would encourage, to the extent possible, reconstruction of that cornice or any other lost elements that the archives can sort of help guide. But with that, I'll thank you for your time and it's a great project.
Thank you. Good. Nobody else has signed up to speak. With that, is there any further discussion on this item? I'd like to request a motion to adopt the preliminary landmark recommendation for the Rector Building located at 79 West Monroe Street. So moved by Commissioner Ponce. Second by Commissioner Jacowitz. Do the roll call. Commissioner Boatright,
Yes.
Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Fair,
Yes.
Commissioner Tolliver. Yes. And I'm a yes as well. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Class L property tax incentive application for the Congress Theater located at 2117 to 2139 North Milwaukee Avenue and 2117 to 2139 North Rockwell Avenue. And I reached here as well.
The proposal before you is an application for a Class L tax incentive tied to the rehabilitation of the Congress Theater on Milwaukee Avenue in the Logansport area. The development team consists of AEG Music Entertainment Company based in LA and Chicago's Baum Revision. Baum is the same entity that recently undertook the remote theater rehabilitation in Richmond. The Congress Theater was designed as a movie theater by architects Fritstein and Company. It opened in 1926 and was landmarked in 2002. The building, which is at the intersection of Milwaukee and Rockwell, covers 3 pins currently. However, there will be a pin split prior to completion of the project. We have a letter of support from Alderman Laspada in the first ward. The Class L is one piece of the larger redevelopment agreement with the city, which includes $27 million in TIP funds approved by City Council in 2023. The project will also be taking advantage of federal historic tax credits, therefore will be reviewed by the State Historic Preservation Office and the National Park Service. Property was last occupied in 2013 and has been vacant for over 10 years. This proposal would rehab the building as a live music venue, offices, 13,000 square feet of ground floor commercial space, and 16 affordable dwelling units in the 3 ancillary segments of the theater block building. The proposed rehabilitation scope was reviewed and conditionally approved by the Permit Review Committee on June 9th of 2022. While there is the structural support for the blade sign, signage was not approved at the 2022 PRC meeting, and that will require their subsequent review. These images show existing conditions of the theater lobby and the main concourse within the auditorium. Class L eligible exterior scope includes replacement of all non-original windows with new clad wood sash windows to include simulated divided lights to match historic glazing patterns. And based on historic conditions assessments by BTL architects, entrance doors, storefront systems, and original transom glazing will be repaired and reinstalled wherever possible. Any new doors and glazing will be replaced in kind to match historic designs and finishes. Roof repairs have been initiated in advance of this winter season. However, costs paid out prior to Class L approval are not eligible for the incentive. On the interior, original light fixtures are to be salvaged, repaired, and reinstalled. Terrazzo floors will be protected during construction and ultimately cleaned and polished. At the top of the grand staircase, which is the photo to the lower right, a non-original plaster infill will be removed. And 2 new openings will be created in the main lobby walls to allow connections into the adjacent side buildings. And that's indicated by a small hatched square in the lower left photograph. For the auditorium, the raised concrete pads that are currently on the main theater floor, which were the old seat platforms, are to be removed. The floor rate will be maintained, and new tier general admission platforms are proposed to be installed. A new fire curtain will be installed at the stage. Balcony level seating and ornamental finishes will be retained and repaired. And all of the items that are indicated in the hatch marks are areas of preservation of significant. This floor plan of the auditorium showing the hatched areas to be retained, and then the raised concrete pads are also pointed out here, which will be removed in favor of a new tiered standing platform system. This proposed section view further shows that condition. The upper level is shown here with hatch marks indicating historically significant areas to be protected and preserved. The note on the bottom right calls out the decorative wall niche at the top of the lobby stairs where non-original infill will be removed. Four non-visible vertical stair and elevator floors will be constructed to provide better circulation and egress to the building. The PRC approved a dark gray, non-reflective metal cladding for those additions. Project will also meet the 50-point sustainability requirement through exceeding the energy code and also being designed to earn that energy. Construction is estimated to take 2 years, beginning in early 2025 and concluding in December of 2026. The total project budget is $45.5 million, and that is excluding acquisition costs. And the Class L eligible scopes of work amount to $42.2 million. The minimum investment required for the Class L project is $1.4 million, so they're well exceeding that. And for the tax analysis, project cost, that 87.5 reflects with acquisition. Minimum investment, excuse me, I said 4.4, it's 4.1. The jobs created will be 200 temporary construction and 125 permanent. Currently, the owners of the property incur a $321,800 annual tax rate. After the project is completed, the tax rate will be 1.2 million roughly annually, an increase of $729,000 in taxes, should the building not be rehabilitated. The estimated, so this is just a lot of numbers, but the estimated net benefit to the applicant will be 6.2 approximately $1 million, which is net present value of 4.5 million. And yeah, so. Staff seeks the commission's recommendation for city council approval of the plat sale application. John Reynolds with Bond Revisions and Andrew Scott, the attorney for the project, are here as well, should you have additional questions about the scope of work and the nature of the project. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Henry. Does the commission have any questions for Elise at this time? Thanks for going over the numbers. Napkin is here.
I'm here. Hello.
Would you guys like to make a statement?
Just to thank the commission. We really appreciate all the efforts. Alicia and her team have been very patient to get us to this point and filling out all the forms and providing all the information. So thank you very much. This can't be done without your help and without the city's cooperation. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Great job on your local.
Thanks.
We continue with these renovations. It's gonna be amazing. Uptown Theater next.
All right.
Thank you. Any other questions to the applicant? Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna say, I'm just really happy to see this going forward, so,
Yeah.
it's a good moment for the city, it's about time, so happy to see this.
Commissioner?
Just a question, if there's anything to share at this point, just about some of the retail space, any ideas for the type of things you might be trying to?
Well, we're committed to have local tenants from the Logan Square Wicker Park area. That's part of the redevelopment agreement. And then also some of the other office space it's called community commercial with the same kind of idea that those will be local businesses.
I have a question, just so that I'm familiar with, you said that the sustainability requirements, how do they fall into this, the adopt a landmark? How does it blend in?
How does it fall into adopt a landmark?
Yeah,
Is that what you said?
or how is it required? Is it required because it's a adopt a landmark, or is it required because of the city?
So the sustainability points are usually required for most larger scale project. It would be required for the class out. And then also presumably for the redevelopment.
And for this particular project, 50 points is the minimum we had.
That's correct. Yeah, so exceeding energy code and being designed for Energy Star.
Thank you.
Oh, one last question. Is there a chamber of commerce? District in Milwaukee, you know?
I'm not sure.
To Commissioner Fair's question about the retail and et cetera. That would be kind of good to understand it. Okay, Mr. Grassi.
Hello again. Patrick Crowder again speaking on behalf of Preservation Chicago. Just briefly, Preservation Chicago wants to express its support for this Class L property tax incentive application. As you heard, the Congress Theater was designated a Chicago landmark in 2002, in large part due to the dedicated advocacy of Preservation Chicago and Logan Square Preservation. And it was later added to the National Register of Historic Places in 2017. And really over the past 20 years, our organization, Logan Square Preservation, continued to advocate for its restoration and reactivation. So we're thrilled to see this happening. There's been some challenges and false starts in the past, but we're optimistic this current renovation, current development team will be successful. And we strongly support this application for Class L property tax.
Thank you. Okay, nobody else has signed up to speak on this item. Therefore, I'd like to request a motion to approve a resolution for a citywide Adopt a Landmark Fund grant for 1500 North Point. Wait, wrong one. Sorry. I'd like to request a motion to approve the recommendation of City Council for the Class L property tax incentive for the Congress Theater. Okay, Commissioner Burns.
Second.
And second by Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Boatright. Commissioner Fair.
Yes.
Commissioner Ponce.
Yes.
Commissioner Tolliver.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Thank you. Oh, man. Good thing it's not getting me there. Okay, item number 5. This is citywide Adopt a Landmark Fund application for the First Baptist Congregational Church located at 1613 West Washington Boulevard in the 27th Ward and Dan this year's.
Thank you, Handling. Good afternoon again, Commissioners. I am back with another Adopt a Landmark project from the most recent funding round. The First Baptist Congregational Church has finalized the budget and scope for their project. The church is requesting $1,464,000 in Adopt a Landmark funds for exterior masonry and roofing work to the building's bell tower and steeple. For orientation, the subject building is located at 60 North Ashland or 1613 West Washington, the southwest corner of West Washington Boulevard and North Ashland Avenue within the near West Side community area and the 27th Ward. For a little background, although the edifice of the First Congregational Church was built in 1869, the congregation itself dates back to 1851. At that time, a group of 48 abolitionist members left their parent church, Third Presbyterian, over the slavery issue. The departing members felt that the church had not adopted a strong enough position against slavery. A man by the name of Philo Carpenter led the dissidents into their own congregation in May of 1851. In addition to housing worship services, the new church was used as a way station in the Underground Railroad for escaping slaves. Originally known as Union Park Congregational Church, the building's outer wall is faced with Lamont limestone, a material like that used for the water tower and in popular use for other churches of the time. The northeast corner of the building is arguably the building's most striking feature, a 200-foot tall bell tower and steeple. The building was designated a Chicago landmark in 1982. As for the proposed project, the Adopt a Landmark work is focused on Priority 1 work identified by Wisjani Elsner Associates during an assessment of the entire campus of structures conducted in 2022. This Priority 1 work is composed of 3 primary areas of concern on the building's bell tower and steeple. The first is masonry work on the tower. This work includes removal of the stone louvers at the belfry and the replacement with new stone to match the existing stone in color, profile, and finish. If due to structural conditions, a lightweight replica material is required, implementation of the alternate material will be subject to the architect, engineer, owner, and historic preservation division staff review of material samples and proposed installation details. Other masonry work includes removal and reinstallation of the 16 vertical stone units at the bell tower buttresses with new stainless steel anchorages. Again, if removal and reinstallation is not feasible due, in this case, to stone size and backup masonry conditions, the vertical stone units will be anchored at the buttresses in situ with structural anchors specifically designed to engage backup masonry with voids. In addition, the work will include installation of approximately 20 stone Dutchman repairs and replacement of approximately 20 stone units at locations identified by the architect engineer in the field. The new stone is to match existing type, color, profile, and finish of the existing stone. Unsound masonry, as identified by the architect engineer in the field, will also be mechanically pinned. Finally, the masonry work will also include removal of all flaking paint and loose stone material at the north tower entrance surround, where isolated stone repairs will be performed to create a sound and watertight surface. The next part of the scope includes removal and reinstallation of the three round windows at the bell tower with new stainless steel anchorages and perimeter detailing to create a watertight condition. This will involve wood repairs and priming and painting of the wood frames. The existing stained glass itself is in fair condition and no repairs are anticipated to it. However, the existing protective glazing will be examined in the field to determine whether it should be reinstalled or replaced. If protective glazing replacement rather than reinstallation is necessary, details and samples of the protective glazing shall be reviewed by Historic Preservation Division staff prior to order and installation. Final portion of the scope addresses the steeple. The work includes replacement of the slate roofing at the steeple with synthetic or natural slate, including replacement or reinstallation of the copper flashing and trim, repairs to the underlying wood sheathing, and installation of new underlayment prior to slate installation. Existing lightning protection system is to be temporarily disconnected and reattached as necessary to facilitate the roofing work. The use of synthetic slate is subject to a review of existing conditions to determine if proper installation is possible without modifications to the existing copper flashing and trim, as well as the architect, engineer, owners, and Historic Preservations Division staff review of material samples and the installation method. Finally, this portion of the work will include replacement of the main roof flashings adjacent to the bell tower with new copper flashings. The resolution before you to grant the Adopt a Landmark funds to the applicant includes this Exhibit A, which outlines the scope of work and budget, which I just summarized, and which includes $1,464,000 in grant funds for the project, which is the total cost of the project. This resolution and drawings were included in your packets. In addition, Exhibit A includes all of the main conditions associated with the project. That in summary, that the conditions are that the work must be submitted to DPD for prior review and approval. The work must be done in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior standards. The applicant will notify staff of any undocumented conditions. The applicant will enter an escrow agreement to assure the project is completed and paid for in a timely manner, and that the applicant will provide to DPD the necessary documentation of the project so that staff can also give an informational overview to the project to the commission once completed. Should you vote to approve the project, the department will then proceed with preparing an ordinance for introduction to City Council authorizing the project. And per DPD policy, because the project grant award is in excess of $250,000, it will require approval by City Council as well, including adherence to the city's MBE, WBE, and city residency hiring requirements. Again, the project is located in the 27th Ward, and Alderman Burnett is aware and supportive of the project. With me today to help answer any questions are Sarah Van Domelen from WJE, as well as Darius Shaw from the church.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Does the commission have any questions for Dan at this time? Applicants? Would you all like to make a statement?
Hi, I'm Darius. I represent the church. I am the chair of our trustee ministry. I've got with me Dana Travis. She's also a member of our trustee ministry and our finance chair. On behalf of our church and our senior pastor, Dr. George W. Daniels, we want to thank the commission for approving, well, we haven't approved yet, but selecting our project. I also want to thank Sarah and her team, Billy and Andrews, who helped put this plan together. Although it only represents the bell tower, we have a much more extensive plan for our entire church campus. And this goes a long way to kicking off that effort to restore this church. As was mentioned in the narrative, this was a way station for slaves coming from the South. And those abolitionists, I can't imagine, thought that we would be in that church We're celebrating our 80th year, and to have this announced during our 80th year anniversary was absolutely a blessing to the church. And so we just want to thank you guys for the consideration for this project. And certainly this work and the rest of the work wouldn't be possible without this consideration. Amen.
I'm Phil Press. I'm Pastor Dr. McCray. My stuff is coming up a little next, but this is my home church. Baptist Congregational Church. Dr. Arthur D. Griffin, our childhood pastor. And 50 years ago, that's a little, 50 years ago, plus, when Mozart come into the building, changed the name, First Baptist Congregational Church. Dr. Griffin had a brother named Burdette Griffin. Burdette Griffin, I've been up in the bell tower. Burdette Griffin strung a platform from within the bell tower and hung it out 100 feet over the sidewalk, that he would shore up. He took it on himself to shore up the stones of the bell tower. That's a little history. And Dr. Griffin, Burdette Griffin, will be smiling down from heaven at this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That obviously wasn't with the permit. I don't think you got a permit for that. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my
I just
goodness.
add a quick couple of notes that,
Yes.
just so you know, we have, been thankful that, Landmark Illinois has also supported our, revitalization efforts for the church, as well as Partners for Sacred Places. We have received, grant funds and support from both of those organizations as well.
Thank you. Well, this is an amazing structure. Just so you know, this weekend is going to be the opening of Notre Dame in Paris. So, hopefully there'll be some inspiration. They've had
There is
quite a bit of work.
Another side note, I was there in Paris the day the fire struck.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
We had just left out of the cathedral, less than an hour, the fire struck.
Wow. Wow. Well, hopefully we can all gain some inspiration from that. Nobody else has signed up to speak on this item. Therefore, I'd like to request a motion to approve a resolution to provide Dr. Landmark Fund grant for the First Baptist Congregational Church located at 1613 West Washington Boulevard. So move Commissioner Boatright and second by Commissioner Tolliver. Commissioner Jekowitz.
Yes.
Commissioner Burns.
Yes.
Commissioner Fair.
Yes.
Commissioner Ponce.
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Greater Union Baptist Church, located at 1956 West Warren Boulevard, also in the 27th Ward. And Dan, this is yours as well.
Good afternoon again. I'm here with one more Adopt a Landmark project from the most recent funding round. Greater Union Baptist Church has finalized the budget and scope for this project. The church is requesting $750,000 in Adopt a Landmark funds for exterior masonry work. For orientation, I want to get that out of here, sorry. For orientation, the subject building is located at 1956 West Warren, the northeast corner of West Warren Boulevard and North Damon Avenue, within the near west side community area in the 27th Ward, just north of the United Center. For a little background, Greater Union Baptist Church is a massively scaled and well-proportioned brick church with distinct terracotta details occupying a prominent position at its intersection. It is one of 3 surviving churches designed by William LeBaron Jenney, an architect of national significance. While an excellent example of the Romanesque revival style of architecture, the design also reflects Jenny's design philosophy through its strong massing, restrained ornament, and functional interior plan. Built in 1886 by a Universalist congregation named Church of the Redeemer, in addition to worship services, it hosted events and lectures that reflected progressive era concerns, which created places for people to discuss real-world problems and possible solutions. In 1928, the building was bought by an established Black Baptist congregation and rechristened as the Greater Union Baptist, which has maintained the building as a place for worship and vital community sustenance for nearly a century. It was designated a Chicago landmark in 2023. As for the proposed project, the Adopt a Landmark work is focused on priority 1 work identified by Bully and Andrews Masonry Restoration during assessment of the building conducted in 2023. On the south or main facade, the work includes review of the cracked terracotta at the gable and repair, pinning, or replacement of cracked units, that's represented by red in the drawing. Removal and salvaging of the masonry materials and rebuilding the terracotta at the tops of the piers, repointing the masonry below the terracotta caps in the blue. Removal of the wood trellises and repair and restoration as needed to match the historic condition. That's that green strip right above the front doors. Repointing 100% of the existing masonry joints with new mortar per a mortar analysis by Henry Firk and Sons. The repointed joints to match the original in size, tooling, and profile. That, of course, is the whole yellow. An installation of sealant at the upward facing joints of the terracotta and stone, and that is on the orange. On the west facade, the work includes removal and salvaging of the masonry materials and rebuilding the brick, sandstone, and terracotta at the west facade gable, including the chimney, again in red, removal and salvaging of the masonry materials and rebuilding the terracotta piers, plus repointing the masonry below the terracotta caps in blue, repointing 100% of the existing masonry joints with new mortar for mortar analysis, again by the same company, repointed joints to match the original in size, tooling, and profile, and that of course is yellow. And then installation of a sealant at the upward facing joints of terracotta and stone, which is the orange. Finally, the work on the east facade includes infilling, there is a hole in the masonry, infilling that hole with new or salvaged common brick, that's the blue, rebuilding the chimney in red, and then installing sealant at the upward facing joints of the terracotta and stone, again in orange. The resolution before you to grant the Adopt a Landmark funds to the applicant includes an Exhibit A, which outlines the scope of work and budget, which I just summarized, and which includes $750,000 in grant funds for the project, which is the total cost of the project as well. And this resolution and the drawings with it were included in your packets. In addition, we have the conditions and same conditions that all work must be submitted to DPD for prior review and approval. The work must be done in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior standards. The applicant will notify staff of any undocumented conditions, and the applicant will enter into an escrow agreement to assure the project is completed and paid for in a timely manner. Should you vote to approve the project, the department will then proceed with preparing an ordinance for intro to City Council authorizing the project as well, similar to the previous project that I just presented. And again, the project is located in the 27th Ward. Alderman Burnett is aware and supportive of the project. And with me today to help answer any questions are Joshua Friedland, as well as Pastor McRae from the church.
Thank you, Dan. Does the commission have any questions for Dan this time?
I have one question.
Go ahead, Ms.
Reverend, the last time we met up here before us, you said the congregation was worshiping remotely because you had a non-functioning heating system.
That's correct.
Is that still the case?
That is still the case. Our contractor worked on it last week. But we need both heating plants repaired. We're closer to it, but not satisfied.
Are the funds there to correct that problem?
The contractor has been essentially paid. So it's a matter of doing the work, getting the work done. That's the church need additional funds, certainly.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Commissioner. Would you like to make any further statements on this?
Yes, I want to thank the commission for taking notice of this landmark, making Greater Union, the church, a landmark edifice in the city of Chicago. Reputedly reputed father, skyscrapers, William Baron Jennings designed this edifice. It's a great worship edifice, been used by the Church of the Redeemer and Greater Union for congregations along from 1885. And there were deacons from the Church of the Redeemer who went and fought in the Civil War. W.E.B. Du Bois, famous Black historian, spoke there. Mary Church Terrell, fighting for voting rights, suffrage, women, she spoke there, in a socially active congregation. And the congregation, small congregation that we have now, mostly seniors, all right. They have struggled to maintain. We're going through a financial crisis, but we're still there, all right. We look to be meeting in our facility just as soon as the heating plants are done. It's been a tough time. We got a core group. Folk got a lot of hope. They put a lot of history, sweat equity, and blood into this building. So we can't thank Landmark Commission enough for taking notice, doing the outside, the envelope. By God's grace, we'll take care of the inside, the interior. Appreciate your support and your prayers. Thank you for this congregation.
Does the commission have any questions for the comments? I did have a couple of questions for you, sir. You know, in terms of, you know, we're always looking for young people to help us out. Can you tell us about some of those efforts of involving more young people into this effort?
Yeah, it's been difficult because we haven't been able to gather.
Yeah.
And this has been a carryover from COVID-19. All right. We began to meet together in earnest. All right. Then there are young people and young adults.
Okay.
Who we believe become part of, but it's difficult.
The next question I had was in regard to your proximity to the 1901 project.
Yeah, we hope they look our way.
Okay.
And we're going to approach them. There are several churches, congregations in the area, Pilgrim Rest, First Baptist, Greater Union, Gospel Temple, one or two others. And we would hope to be form a coalition and tell the United Center what they may be able to do in terms of their plan and where we are situated. We're right in the shadow.
Yes, you are.
Of United Center, and we'll see.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and then if you would like to put in a good word to us, to the United Center, we appreciate that.
I'll leave that to Commissioner Boger. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Mr. Grassley.
Well, again, Patrick Rossi, Preservation Chicago. Preservation Chicago expresses its support for this Adopt a Landmark Fund application. Preservation Chicago previously worked with the Greater Union Baptist Congregation Board of Directors and Pastor McCray, former Pastor Louis Morris, for over 7 years toward the designation of the church as a Chicago landmark, which I heard was approved last year. The Greater Union Baptist Church building has been a cornerstone of Chicago's New West Side for generations and has endured many changes to the community over the past 136 years, including destructive urban renewal projects, social unrest and riots following the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as well as the expansion of multiple large institutions surrounding this magnificent church, such as the United Center. It's a testament to the long-term commitment of its leadership and congregation. The Greater Union continues its service to the community over these past 9 decades. Needless to say, Preservation Chicago strongly supports this application for adopted landmark funding, and we wish the congregation success in all their ongoing stewardship efforts.
Thank you. Nobody else has signed up to speak on this item. Therefore, I'd like to request a motion to approve the resolution for a citywide adopted landmark fund grant for the Greater Union Baptist Church located at 1956 West Warren Boulevard. Is there a motion? Commissioner Jenkowitz, second Commissioner Ponce, Commissioner Boatright,
Yes.
Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Fair,
Yes.
Commissioner Tolliver.
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. The motion carries unanimous. Congratulations. Item number 7 is the permit review committee reports and Mr. Jenkowitz.
The permit review committee reviewed 3 projects at its November 7th, 2024 meeting. All 3 projects were approved with conditions, and the report summarizing the scope of the proposed projects and the committee's decisions was included in your packets. This report is for your information and for the record.
Thank you. Emily?
For the month of November, staff approved 102 permit applications. A total of 139 reviews were performed by staff, and the average of number of days to issue approval, denial, or corrections was 6.3.
Thank you. Any questions of permit review? No questions. Next item on the agenda is the schedule for the 2025 Commission and Permit Review Committee meetings. That's been finalized. The dates will be posted on the commission's website at chicago.gov/CCL. If you regularly attend, please see the schedules, as meetings are not always on the first Thursday of the month in order to avoid holiday conflicts and bunching up as many as possible. January's meeting will be held on Thursday, January 9th. And with no further business, I'd like to request a motion to adjourn. Oh, wait, before I do that, I want to thank the staff. You all have been absolutely fantastic. And I know I'm not supposed to do this. This is where you are.
I'm assuming that value is under.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is definitely. How about it on sale at least?
We'll open it and undervalue it.
Yeah. There you go. I'm gonna pass that to Deanna. You can share.
Thank you. We accept it on behalf of the whole department.
Share.
Thank you. I know, because Mr. Bowman is like eyeball. He's not, woo. Okay, I'd like to request a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion? Will Cook in the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, nobody opposed. This meeting is adjourned and Commissioner Jenkowitz.
Permit review committee will start on schedule at 2 o'clock.
It does. Thank you, folks. Oh, man.
I know. So, I mean.
No, thank you.
Okay, you're not on track.
Really not that. I thought.
Yeah.